but we're wild for the likes. The likes, but we're wild for the likes. The likes.
What up, y'all? This is Marley B, and you're now watching R.I.C.H Radio.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Vanezzi.
Yo, it's Johnny.
You know what it is? It's Phil.
What's up, y'all? It's Big Mike.
And we are
R.I.C.H Radio. You know, that's respect, integrity, confidence, and honesty.
That's what we're about. You already know.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, and we actually have somebody special in the building, right? Tucson's very own
Tucson's
Marley
finest.
B.
Marley
Yeah.
B.
Marley B.
Thank y'all for having me.
Didn't think it would happen, but it happened.
Hey, man. You know, I fuck with Vanezzi heavy, so I had to come through and show some love.
Oh, you know,
all you
and
guys, so.
And you know what? I just want to put this out there. A lot of the people that we've had on the show, I know personally.
Yeah.
And you know, I really enjoy that. I'm happy about that. I'm happy to have you here. And I just don't want people to think it's always going to be just people that I know personally. It's going to be people that from all different walks of life, all different cities, different places.
Yep.
But yes, Marley is my fam. We go way back. Somebody I know very well. Somebody that I respect highly. Also, a lot of people don't know, but Marley B just got off tour, and this isn't his first tour. He's been on tour a lot. He's done a lot of work. He's one of the people from Tucson that have actually, you know, slid across the map.
Yep.
Explain how you've slid across this map, Mark.
Well, my first tour really was just an independent tour with Cash and Rip D. And we kind of went out. We did the whole West Coast. We did all the way up to the Bay Area and back. So that was like the first real region that we did. But after that, we linked up with Murs soon after, and then kind of took off from there. He took us all over, like Colorado, Idaho, Montana, a bunch of random states like that, Wyoming, like states you wouldn't go to. You know what I mean? And then just recently, I linked up with Dimrick and DJ Hoppa and went on a little 30-day tour with them that was all over the Northeast and the Midwest, and went to New York City for my first time, and Chicago, fucking Milwaukee. It was awesome, man. It was awesome to see all these different cities, man, like all the greenery and shit. You know, being a desert kid, I'm not used to that shit, so it's fun, man.
So can you talk about how you got connected with Murs and how that that business venture started off?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny because I used to be on a label called Determined Records in Tucson. It's kind of a more down south gangster rap label. They're kind of hidden. But anyways, that was like the first people I worked with, and I would always tell them like, "Yo, I heard that Murs lives out here now," because I had a buddy that lived in Murs neighborhood. He's like, "Yo,
so you wanted to work with him?
I always wanted to. I was a big fan of his anyways. Just Murs for President and the Murs and Ninth Wonder projects, all of that. You know, so. When I ended up working with them, they would reach out to him, and Murs never really hit us back or anything. And then it was as soon as I was off that label, he showed up at one of my shows, and it was one that me and Cash both performed at. And he came up to me after the show and was like, "Yo, man, like I'm a fan of what you just did. Like you have great energy on the stage, all this stuff." So it was just like I was kind of taken back, like, "No, man, like I'm a fan of you." Like so. It just kind of built from there, and he hit me up a few months. Actually, I hit him up because I got his number and everything, his contact, and I hit him up. I started working with Rip D, who's Cash's manager as well, Golden Artist Group, and I just reached out to him. I was like, "Yo, man, I got this new manager. I just kind of want to talk to you, see what's the next step I should take, what's logical for me." And he's like, "Yeah, let's go to breakfast, whatever." And then we sat down at breakfast. He's like, "Yo, I'm starting a label. Would love to have you be a part of it. You and Cash could do a little project together. It would be great under DJ Fresh, kind of build a repertoire with everybody." And just kind of blew up from there. So, but he lives out in Tucson now, so that's kind of like he's around. He keeps an eye on the scene, man. He loves hip hop, so he's always kind of watching. So
you know what's crazy about that too is that when I was in LA, and when I was running around with Slaughterhouse, we did. I think it was Rock the Bells in San Francisco or San Jose.
Yeah.
I forgot which one it was. It was crazy. But that's actually the first time I met Murs.
Yeah.
As he came backstage, we were back with Chino XL, Mortal Technique.
Mm-hmm.
We were all in the same Star Vans. And he came back when he had the crazy hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he was just super down to earth and cool, just a really nice guy. So I highly respect Murs. And I know him now. And he's always been a very respectful, good man. So I'm happy that, you're working with him because obviously, you're a respectable person.
fact that he was able to co-sign me and Cash, who are relatively unknown, like that says a lot about his character, to really believe in somebody that I had, like 800 followers on Twitter and 500 likes on my Facebook page. He didn't care about that. He cared that I made good music and I was a good person. So that really showed a lot about his character, and I always respect him for that, man. Like that changed my life. So
That's dope.
You know, now you've gone everywhere, like across the country and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, one of my things that when I first seen when it came out was we mentioned this earlier with DJ Fresh.
Yeah.
And that the Tonite Show.
Yeah.
Now that's a lot of my personal favorite music. You know, when he was cracking those Tonite shows out.
Yeah, man.
With like Livewire, I think Mitchie Slick was on one.
Yep.
You know, man, those are some of my favorite things at the time. You know.
Yeah.
So how was that like, man? Like, what was that like working with Fresh?
That was awesome, man. Because I'm the same way. I have a bunch of older homies that really put me on the Livewire, on the Mob Figures, on all that. So I knew about the Tonite Show. I knew about DJ Fresh and who he was, and on top with Grouch and Eli, who were part of Living Legends. He produced a lot for them. So I knew who he was, and when Murs was like, "Yo, I'm gonna link you up with this producer. His name's DJ Fresh," I was like, "Like the DJ Fresh?"
Yep.
And he's like, "Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
I want to link you guys up with him, put some of his production in front of you guys," and it just kind of took off. And that was like one of my homies who was locked up at the time. He just got out a few months ago and finally heard that album. He was the one that put me on DJ Fresh. So it was really awesome to show him
beautiful.
like.
That's
Yo,
dope.
man, like I worked with DJ Fresh
Dude,
when you were away, bro, and he's
damn.
like, man, that's crazy.
Hell
so
yeah.
like, shouts out to DJ Fresh, man. He's an awesome dude.
Shout out
He's
DJ
still,
Fresh.
Yeah, man, he still shows a lot of love for us, and
Yeah.
so it wasn't just like a business thing, man. He's a good dude too.
Yeah,
so.
peep that catalog because he puts out quality stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
DJ
and then,
Fresh, yeah.
and then when I seen you and Cash on it, I was like, no way,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
because you're from Tucson, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's working with mainly dudes from like the West, the Bay Area,
yeah,
LA.
Yeah.
And then bam, some Tucson kids up on there, man. I was geeking out, man. I was happy as hell to see
I was
that.
proud of that moment too, man.
Oh,
like,
beautiful.
Like I was meeting him and going to his studio was like it's one of my happiest moments for sure. Like
Hell
that
yeah.
was awesome.
Hell yeah.
So Marley, why don't you walk us through maybe your childhood growing up into hip hop and maybe who introduced you or how did you fall in love with hip hop?
So I grew up. I was born in Tucson, and my mom moved us to Seattle until I was about 4, and she met my stepdad. I didn't know my biological father or anything like that, but my stepdad's a little bit younger, so I was really raised on the Seattle grunge, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana. That was really like my first music that I listened to growing up. But soon after, my dad started showing me like the Beastie Boys, the Run DMCs and stuff like that, and that's where I really made my connection was like the Beastie Boy, and then kind of like the rock rap fusion with the Limp Bizkit and the Linkin Park. That kind of made me cross over into a new sound. And then soon after, I was like probably 7th, 8th grade, I found 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying just came out, and then Game documentary came out, and then Ludacris Back for the First Time came out. So those were like all of the things that really instilled hip hop in me. And then after that, I was one of those people that loved it so much that I went and did my research. And I went back and I started listening to Bone Thugs. Because I like Tech 9, so I was like, okay, where does Tech 9 get this kind of Midwest chopper style? It was Bone Thugs and Twista and Do or Die and all these things. So I kind of went back and started listening to those, and I mean, I just fell in love with like raw lyricism that could really, because like the thing is, I feel like hip hop is a way of teaching now. Like these are the new era teachers they're getting these messages to these kids. Kids are much more likely to listen and learn when there's a beat and there's music behind it. It's so catchy that they're gonna remember this stuff. So if you can put something that's catchy but actually has a meaning to it, like that's
absolutely.
something and that was something with hip hop, because a lot of pop music was written by rooms of 15 people to just be like, simple-minded lyrics that people could sing along to. But like with hip hop, it was this person's writing this and he's displaying this. This is all one person rather than 15 people coming together in one voice, So that was like my big thing about hip hop was like, this is like, it's kind of like how, some things are a team sport, but this is all on the artist. So like you can really hold them accountable.
It's more individual, more
exactly.
personal.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had a question. Right now, who would you like to, work with when it comes down to Arizona or even, anybody in hip hop right now? Who do you feel like you would really want to work with?
Well, I would say in Arizona, it's probably Klepto, man. I've been messing with Klepto lately. Klepto's the big homie, man. So and like that was one of the first Tucson artists.
Have you ever worked with him?
I haven't, but that was one of the first Tucson artists that I ever heard, and like that. So that's kind of a big step for me. Him and Swindo are both kind of like in my I want to work with them from Arizona wise. From around the country, man. Like there's just so many, man. Like I would love to work with Tech. Off top, Tech 9, like that's one of my biggest influences. Anybody from Bone Thugs, something like that.
You went to Tech 9's compound, didn't you?
I did. I went to the
that?
Strange Music. That was amazing, bro. Murs took me. So like when we went on tour with Murs, he was like, I want you to stay with me an extra day, man. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. I just want you to stay with me an extra day. Cash and all them went back a day early or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay with you. And like, so I'm sleeping. The next day I wake up, we're in Kansas City and we're at the Strange Music compound. And because Murs knew I was a big fan of Strange Music. So he's like, yeah, man, I just wanted to take you to meet everybody. So I went in and I got the tour with Travis, who's the co-owner with Tech Nine. He's the business guy behind everything. And he took us around, showed us so one of their they have 2 factories. One of their factories,
and they do everything, right?
It's independent, completely independent. Yeah, there's no sort of outsourcing. They do it all
He's like
in-house.
the modern day Master P. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Much.
Yeah, so he went and showed us. We went into their merch area where they have like literally a warehouse full of boxes and boxes of merch, and there's like 12 people working on online orders, sending out orders, and all this crazy shit. And then he took us to the offices, and we met everybody that runs the social media, runs all these different things, but they built this from the ground up. So then after that was like the first factory we went to. He took us over to the studio. And the studio is just fucking insane, bro. They got like Harleys hanging up, and like every studio, there's like I think 4 or 5 studios, and between the glass and every booth is a $25,000 Strange Music pennant, and they can't get them out until they knock the studio down. Like Travis was like, yeah, we just kind of did that for a little flash, and we put this in here. You can't get to that. I'm like, bro, so that's like $100K in all these different studios, like that you can't even fucking touch. And then you go into the studio and they have literally every mic you can think of, man, like just lined up. Like, what mic you want to use?
Oh, you
today?
already know. You already know. I'd be dreaming in there.
Were you able to lace any tracks?
No, I wasn't able. I was still kind of on the outside looking in. You know what I mean? It was Murs was going there to record actually the Murs Day album that he did with Mayday, and
that's dope.
So it was just I got to meet Seven, the producer that produces everything. I got to meet everybody pretty much. So it was really inspiring, man. Like just to see that, and he opens a closet. He's got fucking stacks and stacks of Beats headphones. Like, yeah, Beats has been hooking me up lately. I'm like, can I have one? Like come on, man. Like,
that must have been a big deal for you. It's just like, especially listening to his music and being influenced by his music, and then actually going to where this is all.
This
done.
is where it's based.
And I think it's so, like I always say, like it's so dope how just with the artists in Tucson, it's just what they're doing. And it's crazy is how now that we're digging deeper, and this radio show is really learning about these artists and what they're doing. And it's like, man, like I'm getting excited because like I want my city to be represented in a way where you want to be proud of it. Yeah. And like artists like Cash Lansky, yourself, and just the many more is just like, I think we have good momentum. Yeah. And I think we might be on the on the brink of something to where really making some impact and putting Tucson like on the where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tucson has just been booming, man. And I came in the scene like 2012, I would say. It was like when I did my first show.
Just about when I moved back to Cali.
And
this dude's stage performance, by the way, too, not to cut you off, but my goodness.
No, I seen that video you did with Cash Lansky with the Tech Nine.
Yeah, the fuck that video.
Bro,
yeah.
Like dog, like Sonny showed me. Yeah. I was like, and I'll be showing it to everybody like, yo, you need to hear this. Yeah. And they're like, this dude's from Tucson. Yeah. I'm like, yeah,
this
man.
dude's a performer.
Like, bro,
man.
when I seen that, like I was
good,
like, this is so dope.
But the thing
beat,
is,
man, the beat is ridiculous.
Yeah, for real, man. Yeah. Shout out to Cash. That was actually Cash's song, and I just asked him if I could get a verse on there.
You guys shut it down though, man. Yeah, so, you guys shut it down. I was like, hell yeah.
So but no, the thing is with Tucson, I've been out here since 2012 working in the hip hop scene, but I've had so many opportunities to get on a stage and perfect what I'm doing that I'm just so fucking thankful. When I go to these other cities, like a lot of these small cities, they perform once every 6 months and they don't really understand. I'm able to go out weekly if I want to an open mic and go perform if I need to. You know what I'm saying? So like the fact that Tucson is such an art city, it's still a small city, don't get me wrong, it's compared to LA, compared to Atlanta, where these hot bases are, like, it's still small. But the fact that we have these venues that are willing to take hip hop in, like, we really have to take advantage. Because even when I was doing shows at Deviate and fucking paying to play, like, there's cities that don't even have that, man. So you have to really just take advantage of what you have. And the fact that I was able to do that is the reason that I'm able to have a good stage show, because I'm so fucking comfortable, because I've done crowds of 1 at Deviate. So when there's a crowd of fucking 500, it's like, oh hell yeah, like this is gonna be easy. I had to win over one person. You know how hard it is? It's much harder to win over one person than it is 500. When one person bobs with 500, everybody bobs. But when it's that one person, like fuck, man, like this is the hardest shit ever, man. So
they're just staring at you all awkwardly. Just looking at them like
that's a breath of fresh air, because not a lot of artists today take take consideration into their stage act. You know what I mean? You know, you hear them live, and then, you know, you're kind of disappointed sometimes, you know? But you're actually perfecting the craft.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Perfecting your craft, and you know what, and thank you for that, because as a fan of hip hop, man, we need more of that, bro. We need that stage presence. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. See, the thing also is I was so heavily influenced by Tech Nine. If you guys have never been to a Tech Nine show, go to a fucking Tech Nine show. It's like a rock show. It's the greatest hip hop show there is. The way they do their lights, the way they choreograph shit, and it's not necessarily fucking poppy dancing and shit, but it's just these little movements that they choreograph that really connects with the crowd, and it produces this energy that the crowd has to interact with. So like that was a big influence on me as far as my stage show, was watching Tech Nine, and the fact that he's able to do these double and triple time raps and still fucking run across the stage and run back and forth.
Yeah, it's like possible, he has super lungs. I don't like it's crazy what he does. And I remember I went to one show of his out here, and when you first walked into the venue, there was like this sheet covering something. You didn't know what it was, right? And you first walk in, and I mean, I got there kind of early, so I'm there probably about 45 minutes, maybe to an hour before the show started, right? People are starting to come in, I'm standing up in front or whatever, and then all of a sudden the music starts, and this sheet kind of starts moving, and it was perfectly still the whole time, right? Out pops Tech Nine. He was laying under the literally this sheet, like as if it was a body under a sheet for like an hour, and people had no idea it was him. Like, that's dope, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like, everybody was shocked, like, oh, wow, it's him. You know what I mean? And it made such a big explosion, like everybody went crazy.
It's almost a play on drama, like like it literally taking the music to the next level. Is if people come to a show, they don't just want to fucking hear the song, because you're not gonna most times you're not gonna be able to do the song as good as you did it on your CD. So they can go and listen in their car if they want to hear the best version of that song. What they come to see you, and they want to see you do something different, and they want to see you do something that goes along with the song. So like, I'm still learning that too. There's a lot of things that I can learn, you know. So but. All that influence, it literally come from a Tech Nine show, and going to a Strange Music show and watching him, and watching the light shows, and watching his hype man.
Yeah, the light shows. Man.
I mean, Tucson shows Tech Nine a lot of love.
Sells out every time, man.
Every time.
And so,
that
like,
Tech Fest is crazy.
So when it comes down to, like, you know, your style, you know, where you have, you know, like your backpackers, or you have the underground, or like the mainstream, where what do you feel like you're at when it comes down to your style of rap?
See,
or do you put yourself in a category?
I consider myself a backpacker because I listen to a lot of lyrical hip hop, and that's what I like to put in my music, is a message that people can learn something from. But at the same time, I don't like to put myself in a box yet. You know, I don't know necessarily what's going to be the biggest benefit for me in this. You know, I'm still kind of feeling my way out. But my style to me is Southwest. I'm trying to make this the style. You know, nobody's really put a style that's like, this is what the Southwest sounds like. You know what the West Coast sounds like. You know what the East Coast sounds like. You know what the Midwest sounds like. You even know what the Northwest sounds like with the Macklemores and the Blue Scholars, all these underground cats that have been coming out of there. But Southwest, it's still kind of like, well, what's the sound going to be like? So we're still trying to curate like that perfect.
So how do you feel about like the mainstream, like your Futures and your Drakes? And...
You know, I don't necessarily listen to a lot of it, but my boy Johnny Red, shout out to Johnny Red.
Shout out Johnny Red. That's the homie, man. Right there.
He makes me listen to this shit all the time.
And what do you think?
Until it grows on me, and it's grown on me. You know, like if I'm going out on a Friday night, I don't mind listening to Lil Yachty or whatever it may be, but I don't consider that hip hop. Okay. To me, hip hop is more the lyrical style. You can consider it rap if you want, or trap, you know, the trap rap, absolutely you consider that, but to me hip hop is sacred, at least in my heart. You know, like hip hop is true lyrical, it has a meaning behind it. So that there's the Lil Yachty's and the Lil Uzi Verts that make dope fucking turn up music. Don't get me wrong, there's art to that. That's absolutely an art, but do we consider it hip hop, or should it be its own genre?
And I think it should.
Like, it's kind of
because
like
you know the mumbling rap where you can't really understand. They were saying, I think it was Charlemagne the God, where he was talking about that shouldn't be considered hip hop. It should be like, you know, like a distant cousin or different genre,
man,
right?
Yes.
Where it's something just a lot different.
Yeah, and I mean, I did actually I opened for Playboy Cardi the other night. With Johnny Red. Johnny Red had an opening set, and that's one of those new rappers. So it was a very young crowd, and they were actually really responsive to what we were doing. But what I realized what it's all about nowadays to these kids is it's about a cadence, and it's about a beat. Yep. It's about a no.
Absolutely.
Hey. Like, it doesn't matter what the fuck you're saying. If you can fucking make some syllables come together like that kind of makes some sense, fuck yeah. And a good beat, you're on. So I mean, there is an art to that though too, because I don't I've tried to do this shit and it's hard for me. I can't break out of my box to really kind of put myself in that zone. So there is an art to, you know, I can't be mad at that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't consider it what I do. That shouldn't be compared to me.
Do you think it's a trend that's going to last?
Yeah. It will last for a little bit, and I think things will grow from it. You know, I think there will be some sort of new style that comes from it, but I don't know necessarily how long it's gonna last. Like, you know, hip hop has always been, that was the first, like, to me, like, underground music. Hip hop has always lived, and there's been a lot of rock genres that have died because they don't have underground scenes. There's been a lot of different genres that have died because but hip hop has such a loyal fan base. If you really love hip hop, you'll go out and do your research. You're not going to be force fed what they want you to listen to. So
so you're big on performing, right? So is there anybody in particular that you know like as far as like performances, or who you try to like?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Tech, of course, that's where I got a lot of my influence, but also Murs, man. Murs is a great performer. He'll go out and perform for an hour and a half and jump and do toe touches, and what he taught me was he runs every day, 5 days a week, 7 miles.
Dang.
And he raps while he runs to learn breath control, and that's something that I started doing, especially with my double cadence raps. Like, a lot of people are like, yo, you don't have backtracking, you don't have a hype man, how the fuck are you doing this live? Because you have to project your voice.
I wondered that too, Marley, even though I've known
and it's cardio, man. Like, you literally just have to wake up and fucking go run and rap. Like, I run and I listen to my music and I try to rap. And it's so fucking hard to run and rap that by the time I stand on a stage, it's like, oh, this is second nature. I can breathe and stand here and rap.
You know who actually used to do that? Excuse me. I heard who used to do that was someone we were talking about earlier. Me, Marley, and Rick over there. Outkast, man.
Oh, yeah.
They started doing that shit, dude. L.A. Reid made them run and rap, dude. This was like in the early 90s, you know what I mean? So this is something that helps the stage performance big time, and you don't hear a lot of people doing that, though. You know what I mean? So the fact that you guys are doing it, man.
I didn't know Outkast did it. That's crazy.
Yeah, they did, bro.
I bet you that's where Murs got it from, too.
Exactly. Because that makes perfect sense. Everything you said was exactly what they said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're going to do a performance and make people want to be there to see you, you got to learn how to have that stage performance. You know what I mean?
You got to bring something different, and you got to be able to be active on stage rather than, because I go to, you know, even a lot of like these new day rappers like the Playboy Cardis, they'll have backtracking and they'll just stand there and rap. Like, it's like, not necessarily him, but like I've seen, like, I was at South by, and I seen certain rappers fucking come out with a backtracking and stand there and rap, and it's like, well, why would these people pay for this when it sounds much better in their car on the CD? I would rather hear you like that. I don't want to hear two of you trying to match voices. For me, that was like, and I grew up in a musical family. My mom was in rock bands growing up, and like that's when we lived in Seattle. That's how she provided for our family and stuff. So I went to the shows when I was 4, and like these are the things I remember. So I always loved live music. So if I can do that by myself, like, why not? You know, I gotta bring some sort of elements to it, whether it's stage props or running back and forth or just not having a backtracking and being able to do it by myself. You know, like.
Well, you know what? Speaking of the endurance that you have and that you're able to, you know, of course your cadence is very fast in the way that you rap. I mean, you have songs too where you're just talking to the people, but I'm going to do something because I'm your boy. Yeah. And I'm going to put you on the spot. Ooh.
We want you to stand up and rap. Nah, just kidding.
Yeah.
Stand up and rap.
Can you give the people some of Marley B's Flames?
Okay,
yo. Been waiting for this all week, man.
Okay, let me think of a good verse for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I gotta think of a good one.
Pull out my phone and record this.
Some lyrical. You already know. You already know.
Okay, I'll do something off the album. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still promoting the Grow album. So it's like, I'm back now. People thinking I back down. Feeling like a king, like I got cousins in Sacktown. My last route, getting traded like stack cows. Cutting off that energy, I just call it the blackout. Relax now, chilling out on this black couch. Watching cartoons and smoking up on this bag loud. Then max out, eating ramen and snacks now. Know I got a show later on and it's a packed house. Wait, but this is how I level. Yeah, I said this is how I grow. Yeah, meditating with my thoughts. I'm discovering my soul, and I know when I get down, sometimes I just forget how not to get mad and flip out, admitting I was wrong. Gotta show I'm equipped now. I ain't act like a bitch now. Take a breath, then I sit down and listen to this song. And that's off a track called "Breathe" off the new album.
Hey yo,
hell yeah!
Talking about
a little something, you know.
That's what's up, man.
See, like that's what you can tell. I kind of get my influence a lot from that Tech 9, real precise. He rhymes syllable for syllable, and that's something that's like always been intriguing to me. You know,
I think that's a hard style to really master because not only do you have to be able to write your verses and have them make sense and really make an impact, but you have to make sure that your words fit with the tempo of the beat, you know, depending on what switch ups you do with your delivery, you know, when to change your voice tone, things like that is really, really important with that. And you do that with ease, man. You know, you always have. You know what I'm saying?
So what is your process with writing, right? So like, I know, like I actually read something that Eminem uses, like he does 1 through 16, and he just writes down and he tries to piece it. And everybody else has their everybody else has it. Like, you know, what's your process?
I've done that style before, but for me, a lot of times I like to listen to a beat first, and then start writing and let the beat kind of tell me where this song should go. But there's no like set process for me. I like to be open to all ideas. What may come, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I'll just be in the car and I'll think of a dope ass bar, you know what I'm saying? Oh, that's dope. I'll write it in my phone, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll come back to it later. You know what I'm saying? You come back to it later, like, okay, I'm writing this song. Oh, that might fit in this song. You know, I have like different little metaphors and bars like that. So that's one way that I structure it. But for me, it's a lot of time it's just listening to a beat and just kind of zoning out and letting it just flow, you know. Whatever comes out. So
that's dope.
So I actually saw you on, what was it? Was it the Johnny Cupcakes?
Yeah, the Team Backpack Cypher.
Man,
Johnny
and like
Cupcakes.
it was so dope because like you guys were actually coming out of like an oven door. And it was like, it was fire. But who was that one cat from Oklahoma?
That's JB, man. That's my big bro, JB.
That dude is really dope, man.
He's super dope. He just dropped a project too called Black Future. He sold out some big ass fucking place in OKC. He's like OKC's hometown hero. He's got an Emmy.
Serious?
He's got a bunch of different shit, and he
really
was on
dope.
Label 316 with us with Murs. Murs had signed him, and shout out to Smash Lames. WeAreBuggingOut.com. It's a dude that's really around in the Tucson hip hop scene.
Oh yeah,
that's JB's like big bro. That's how JB's linked to the Tucson scene and like how we all know each other kind of.
Dude, super sick.
JB's super dope, man. Super
Shout
dope.
out JB.
Yeah,
you gotta come check out R.I.C.H Radio.
JABEE. Make sure you guys like YouTube him. He's got some super dope music. He's got a new song with like Chuck D on the album. He's got he's like Chuck D loves him, man. So like he fucks with a lot of big names. So.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yo, so you said you've been doing this since 2012, right?
Yeah, like 2011, 2012. Yeah, like I think my first performance was in 2012.
So like in a span of 4 or 5 years, you've been able to make your name really big, right? Yeah. And I say that, I know you probably think like, no, it's like really big in Tucson. What do you do for that? Just in case like there's somebody watching like that, maybe is like, man, I want to be there in half the time or whatever.
Man, for me, it was just like, I'm thankful that I was raised out here, so I already knew a lot of people. So like people already like are kind of biased to support me because like, oh yeah, I went to high school with him, whatever, he's dope. They don't even listen to my music, but they say I'm dope because they went to high school with me, you know, type of shit. But on top of that, like the thing is, like you really just got to get out and network, man. Like there's so many good connections in Tucson. Like if you go out there and put your face out there and make, you know, don't fucking complain. Just do the sacrifices that you have to do, man. Like, cause I sat there for a year and paid to play at DV8 shows for crowds of 15, and I never went on Facebook and was like, oh fuck these promoters or fuck these so and so, because that's not what it's about, man. Like, that's what's up. They're gonna respect you in the end because you are truly about it. If you're really about your craft, fuck it, I'll pay to play. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna get on this stage and get in front of these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when you're first starting out. You know, like do what you have to do to get there, man. Like don't let these politics and these outside ideas of what's right and what's wrong affect you, because there's everybody has their own path and it's gonna build up.
I think that's a good thing with you and Cash is that you guys have that work ethic.
Yeah. And
you guys are putting in that work and you're not expecting, you know, a handout.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, that speaks volumes because you have to put that work in, like you mentioned. Yeah. Like even if I gotta pay to do this performance is what I need to do. And that's one thing I can respect is that you guys putting in that work and not expecting it just to come to you. Yeah. And I think that's why, you know, you guys are experiencing this success because that work you put in.
Yeah,
it's coming
back. I agree.
Yeah, no, and big shout out to Cash, man, because that's like
for sure.
He
man.
motivates me so much, man, because the fact that he has 4 kids, he works 12 hours a day, he's a family man, and
I heard that a track above the rim.
Oh
yes.
my God, it's
dog.
So hard.
Like, he came with it.
But the thing is, he's got 4 kids. He works 12 hours a day. He's got a wife. He's got bills. He's got a house, and he still puts out more music than anybody in the fucking city. So like, what does that tell you, man? Like that's why it really motivates me. Right. Like so, like while I'm at home and I'm, you know, maybe selling my weed on the side, like, oh, I'm busy, I'm selling weed. Like Cash putting out a fucking CD. I'm like, dude, weren't you just working for 12 hours a day? Like, yeah, I wrote a few verses at work. I'm like, man, so that like, shout out to him, bro. Like, that really took my game to the next level. Like, once we started collabing on that album and like seeing his work ethic, I was like, oh,
Cash,
shit.
he has
like,
a great soul, man.
Oh yeah,
he has a great soul.
He's so genuine, bro.
Well, I think that's why you guys, you know, connect so well.
Yep.
It's because, you know, you guys are very genuine. You guys are good people. Yeah. Hands down. You know, there's nobody that I've ever met that's ever said anything negative about you or about Cash. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, even people that may be jealous of the success, nobody's ever said anything negative. Yeah. I've never heard it anyways. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I mean, I mainly deal with some real people. So, You know, I'm not gonna hear it, but you know how people talk. Thing I wanted to bring up too. Now, a big thing we like to talk about on the show is you know, we try to promote positivity to youth. Uh-huh. We want the young kids that are watching the show that are you know interested in the people that are out here. We want them to kind of take some advice from the artist on basically just any kind of life advice that you would give to kids, man.
Well, my life advice would definitely be, like let yourself mature before you start trying to be an adult. You know, like I seen a lot of my homies that tried to be an adult at 15 and at 14 because they thought this is what's cool. Let's go out and let's get drunk. Let's go do this. But they didn't let themselves mature. And a lot of them aren't on the right path nowadays. And I feel like that may play a big part in it. For me, I was in sports and I was super strict. My family was super strict on grades and things like this. So I was disciplined by the time I turned 18 to the point where I can go out and I can get drunk on the weekend, but I know I can go to work on Monday and do these certain things. And a lot of these kids that are in high school and middle school, they don't have that parent factor or something, that they don't learn this discipline and they start doing these things so early that that's what they know. And by the time they become an adult and they start having to pay bills, they're like, well, how does this work? You know? So like for me, the big thing is just be a kid, man. Enjoy yourself, be a kid, learn, you know, and really don't try to be an adult so young, you know.
And to the parents, let your kids be kids.
Exactly, yeah, let your kids be kids, man.
Quit trying to show them all the adult stuff all the time, man.
Yeah,
let them be kids, man.
Yeah, for me, like that was a big thing for me, is like I had a very good structure at home, so I was able to, and I played football until I was 18, so I didn't start smoking until I was 18, so I wasn't out of class really ditching or anything like that, or, you know, and that does play a factor in some of it, you know. Kids would rather go smoke some weed. I had homies like that, you know, that would rather go smoke some weed, and they ended up going to get their GED at 23 and, you know, working at McDonald's. So for me, it's just be a kid and do what you're supposed to do. It's not hard, you know, and have fun with it. You know?
It is hard because of influence, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with peer pressure nowadays, it's different, you know.
Yeah, perception and influence really control us, you know what I mean? When it comes down to it.
Especially with the social media. I didn't really, social media was like kind of towards the end of my high school career, so thank God there would be some embarrassing videos of me if social media was around while I was in middle school or elementary school. So you know, it's a different struggle nowadays, but yeah, don't get wrapped up in that shit, you know, and go out and enjoy it.
What else is different about you, too, is that you actually admit, you talk about the fact that you had structure growing up. Now, a lot of people in hip-hop, they want to have this background of this hard life, or, you know, that they were mistreated when they were young, or they didn't have the guidance they needed. Yeah. And even people that me and you both know, or people that the community knows that they grew up with structure, and then they try to put out the
better off than most people. You know?
Yeah, I mean, exactly, silver spoon and all.
For me, like, and you know, I'm so respectful of my parents that like I won't go out here and lie to people and act like my parents weren't there for me. Like my parents worked fucking hard, and that's why I work hard, you know. And like I'm thankful for my stepdad coming in and raising me like his own, because he never showed me anything. I didn't know I was a fucking stepchild until I was like fucking 8, you know. And I'm like, well, why is my last name changing to Bertrand when it was Monroe? You know, like I adopted his last name and things like that. So like, for me, like, the fact that my parents are there, like, I respect the fuck out of them. I would never go out and be like, oh, yeah, they made it hard for me when they were... Yeah, my dad bounced around from job to job. My mom worked as a post office. We're not well off, but at the same time, I know so many people that are worse off and, you know, that don't have the chances that I do or the opportunities that I do. So I take advantage, and I'm not afraid to... You know what I mean?
So the name... Oh, my bad.
No, well, I was going to ask you, what position did you play in football?
Oh, I was a safety, man.
Oh, you were a safety?
Yeah, I had a little bit more meat on my bones, too, man. I've lost a little weight. Like, the skinniness runs in my family. So
that's dope.
I went to Mesa Community College for a little bit, and I was playing out there, but then I just kind of dropped out. And I got into hip hop after that.
Are you more of an NFL or college fan?
I love them both, man. But I am a Seattle Seahawks fan. So see, the thing is, although I was raised in Tucson, the first game I ever went to when I was, I think, 4 was a Mariners game, and one of my first memories is watching King Griffey hit a home run in the Kingdom and seeing the fireworks go off. So it's the Seattle fandom kind of stayed with me. So that's why I'm a Seahawks fan. But I'm also a U of A fan, huge U of A fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go to
U of A all day.
Yeah, for real.
So the name Marley B.
Yeah.
How did Marley B?
That's just my name, man. Like I figured, like when I started doing it, and a lot of the hip hop I listened to, the thing that, like I said, the thing I liked about hip hop was the fact that it was somebody telling their story, and it was representing themselves. It wasn't they weren't rapping somebody else's lyrics, things like that. So I was like, oh, why am I gonna make a stage name if this is really the stories that I've lived? And my name's Marley. My mom gave me a dope name. Like I don't wanna, why not? You know, like so that's where that came from. It's just real name, you know. So.
Now, I want to do one thing here. I want to kind of switch gears. I want to talk a little bit of hip-hop real quick. Okay. Because this is something, we discussed many times before personally, but never really in depth. And then with Marley, talking to him earlier today, I really want to hear his opinion. Now, you always hear top 5, greatest, always hear that, right? Now, me and Rick, Marley, we were talking about, Eminem, and then someone mentioned Drake or whatever, and we're like, we can't really say him, we got to Ghost Rider. I want to get into that kind of stuff later. But then when we say Andre 3000, and they go, he gets kind of overlooked because of the group status. Yeah. Now you always got to put him up there, but if you think about it, Andre and Big Boi together, man, as a group,
they could still be top 5 for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
I agree.
And it's in a lot of people's top 5s. Is Outkast. I wouldn't be afraid to put them in
groups,
mine.
Groups or duos?
Groups. You got to consider them a group. To me, you got to like you can't really. They did like it's just so much going on. Like I can't just consider them like a duo. Like,
so who's your top five group?
Well, they're probably, they gotta be like number 1, man, like right off top, right? Bone Thugs and Harmony is another one. Dipset is up there for me, because that was kind of big in 01 when I was first coming into hip hop. What do you think here? Man,
remember there's like the Wu-Tang.
Yeah, see, that was before me, man, like, and I didn't really get into the super Wu-Tang.
Would you even say G-Unit then?
Yeah, G-Unit. For your era? G-Unit is from my era. That's something that I was kind of thinking. But they're not necessarily top 5. I don't think.
Okay.
Buck and Banks were kind of, but 50, of course, he's great. Mobb Deep would probably be one.
Would you even consider Rockefeller kind of a? Even though it was just a label, but it was.
Then you could start like breaking it down, like
Freeway,
like
they weren't really a group though. They never.
Really, like you could say Death Row was a group or something like that.
You
know what I'm saying? So, but NWA was probably in there too.
So Death Row. How about Dogpound? How do you feel about Dogpound?
Dogpound, man, that Dog Shit album was one of my favorites. Man, that was like 02, 03. That fucking that was a good one.
Yeah. That was their follow-up to Dog Food that came out like 95.
Yeah, and it came like 10 years later, but it was still.
But it was still dope.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I liked it. So,
I agree.
Yeah, man. I mean,
what about top 5 MCs though?
MCs,
not just rappers.
Not artists.
Top 5 MCs.
Well, I gotta put Tech in there. I gotta put Eminem in there. See, I always get stumped on these, man. Like I'm always like, because there's so many. I listen to so many dope things. Nas is probably in there. Jay isn't in there, and Cash is gonna be mad at me because Cash is such a fucking Jay. And I know you guys are too. I want him. The thing is, see, for me, like I never really listened to Jay-Z as a kid, and like I've started coming back to a lot of Jay-Z, and Cash has been putting me on game. A lot of that shit went over my head. I'm a white kid from Tucson. I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. So like now that I was coming back to it, like I fuck with Jay-Z, I fuck with the Rockefeller too. You know what I'm saying? But he wouldn't be in my top 5. Man, probably Slug from Atmosphere. He's super dope.
See, a lot of people don't know about. That's underground super lyricist.
You know
that was dope. That's dope. I'm glad you said that.
Who else, man? I mean, there's so many dope artists out there. Twist is probably in there somewhere. Master P's gotta be in there somewhere. Fucking like, there's so many influence, bro. I don't like to like break it down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really have like, cause my listening changes every day. Like I'll fucking go back and today I was listening to Long Term Mentality 2 by Ab-Soul. Ab-Soul is one of my favorite rappers. TDE, everybody from TDE is, you know, I really enjoy that. And then, you know, I'll go back and listen to J. Cole, you know, and then exactly. So man, I just get a lot of influences from everywhere, and I like bands too, man. Like I listening to old rock and trying to listen to oldies music. I listen to 106.3 a lot in my car. I don't listen to a lot of 98.3 or 93.7. I'd rather listen to the oldies, and you know, because a lot of the hip hop comes from this Motown music and all these flips, and you can really hear the influence in it. And
a lot of samples come from that. A lot of the samples in modern day music are from that Motown era.
Yeah, absolutely.
From the Atlantic Records era.
Yeah, and my mom's from Detroit, so like that was also kind of instilled in me. Like,
should have been a Detroit Lion there, man.
Hey man, she's a Lions fan.
We got two of them right here.
You're a Lions fan? See, my mom's a Lions fan too, but she's always so hopeless at home. Just like, I don't even want to watch the game. I'm like, I like Stafford though, so.
Yeah. So, you know, we were actually coming up with, you know, Johnny brought an idea to us, or actually it may have been Phil. It was Phil. But, well, basically it was about doing a top 5 here in Tucson.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, Elite 5, we call it the
Elite 5,
Elite 5, that's a good way to put it.
Tell them about the idea.
So basically what I was thinking, right, was, and I presented it to these gentlemen, of course, is like we basically are in a partnership with the top 5 artists in Tucson. You, Cash, Calvin Jarvis, Show Nuff, and then there was one more. I forgot who.
It was actually the dude that Cash was talking about last time.
Well, there's another one.
There's a
right?
few.
There's another one. We want to like sit down and talk to y'all and kind of say, okay, well, we're in a partnership. We'll promote y'all. Yeah. Maybe, you know, we have shirts. Y'all go on tour. Yeah. Throw you, you know, stuff absolutely. For like whatever. But you know, and we're promoting you guys because we're also planning. What we're planning to do as well is go hit the streets of downtown and do like shows out there and say, hey, you know, have you heard of R.I.C.H Radio? No. Have you heard of Marley B? Yeah. Now, right now, go into, you know, whatever. Let's download, listen to it, do it. Cars, whatever. Yeah, go like and you know, just kind of promote y'all out like that for like a good 6 months to a year, and then we just switch up to another Elite 5 so we can get more exposure for the whole city. You know what I mean?
We want to do this and also start in Tucson, of course, because this is home base, but then move into other cities across the country. Yeah. And get the top 5 and get local voters to kind of vote their top 5, and then us kind of have a judgment panel to where we kind of decide who we feel like would be good for that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. That's something we want to do, and definitely would love for you to be included in that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I would love to, bro. It's all love, man. I would love to rock some gear, fucking spread the word, whatever it may be. You know,
I know, man. You're a real dude.
Yeah, you know, I watched the interview with Cash. I watched the one with Show Nuff. I kind of got it, you know, and I really like the vibes and shit, man. I think y'all are genuine people, and just the things you're talking about and things like that, it really matters to people. So, and people are watching, you know, so.
And hopefully around the 10th or maybe 20th episode, we can just do just a red carpet event and just do a dope like performance.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Get all you guys together, you know, and put together a show for the city. And represent. Yeah, that would be dope, bro. It was just been announced that we are one of the sponsors for the barber competition for the 2016 for the Expo Center. Yep, shout out to Manny Fresh.
Shout out to Fresh.
Yeah, so we're definitely, you know, we definitely want to represent for the city. So we want to maybe have like the 10th episode or 20th. And actually do a dope performance in the city. We're gonna get the venue, do a red carpet event, and you know, and treat you guys well because you know you guys are the stars of our city. So we want to make sure that we show that love and that appreciation and put together a dope ass show.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Let's do it. Let's do it, man. You know, I'm with
and obviously the venue's gonna be local too. Yeah, and we're actually working with that right now, where we might have a dope place.
Well, why don't you just?
Oh, not
well,
Mike's.
I don't want to say it yet.
But I mean, we got some crazy stuff.
If y'all need help with anything, man, let me know. If y'all need links to anything, you know, like for real, like that's what it's about. Right here too, so that's what it's about, man. It's all about your network, and it's all about spreading that network.
It'd be cool to get like a live band in that performance, to do like a live performance with you and Cash. Like it would be.
We can talk to Rubik's Cube. He's been trying to do that for a while already.
Right now.
I don't know if y'all know who Rubik's Cube is, but he's been trying to do that for a while. He's been hounding me. He wants to do some live shit behind me. So, and he's a great producer out here.
We should put together a good show for the city. Yeah. You know, and I mean, we could. I know we could do it and put it together, and of course record it, film it, and then of course, you know, give it to you guys as a gift to promote it, you know, so you guys can promote it yourself.
It'll be good for all of us.
Yeah, and it's really just about building these relationships and working together, and you know, and being stronger instead of trying to work against each other. Be like, you know, it's all the strength out of.
It's all about your network, man.
It is.
It's all about spreading that network for real. Like the more, I'm not gonna keep people from you. If I know this person, I'm gonna give you his contact info, whatever it's gonna take. You know what I mean? Because I would love to see all of us be able to throw shows whenever we want.
You've always
it's gonna
like
be,
that.
yeah, and that's gonna benefit us all in the end. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just gonna come back and help me. You know, if it's helping you, it's helping me. It's helping Tucson, and I love Tucson, so I'm not gonna fucking hold that back from them. You know. So.
Speaking of that, where can everybody find you? Where can they find you?
MarleyB.com, man. Like I just revamped the whole website. That's got all the links to everything.
Dope website, by the way.
www.marleyb.com. And then, you know, Marley B _520 on the social media, Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook, Marley B Music. So.
I'm actually gonna follow you right now.
Yeah, bro. Hit the follow button. I follow back. Friend me.
Now, you know, Johnny, he's always the one to pull it up here.
Yeah, I almost had it
just so
up, though.
everyone could see.
I thought we had Randy Moss in the room. What's going on?
Bring it back real quick. Throw back.
No, but we are a little bit short on time.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, I typed it in wrong.
Shit. Yeah, dude. Just like Bob Marley. MarleyB
I'll put a B in there.
_520.
Oh, wow.
Now, is there anything else you want to say, or anybody else you want to shout out? Anything at all whatsoever you want the people to know?
Oh
before we
man,
Go ahead.
just shout out everybody in Tucson that's been fucking with me, man, since day one. Like,
You know what? Shout out to the city of Tucson.
for real, bro. The
You know
whole
what?
city of Tucson, bro. Like
Tucson,
everybody that's out here,
Arizona,
whether you like me or not, I love you guys, and I love this city. I love coming home. I love not having traffic. I love not having humidity, and I love, I love the fact that Tucson is what Tucson is, man. Like after traveling, it's really opened my eyes to like how dope the fucking Southwest is, because I grew up around, you know, the native cultures and all these things, and I kind of overlooked it. Like, okay, yeah, I'm sick of seeing the little Kachina dolls. I'm sick of this shit, and going out elsewhere, I'm like, man, these Kachina dolls are dope. No wonder they sell like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like you don't know what you got until it's gone. So, shout out to everybody in Tucson. Shout out to Honorable Gang, Golden Artist Group.
Yes, sir.
You know, shout out to R.I.C.H Radio, man. Thank y'all for having me. It's fun.
Of course,
bro.
man. It's been a pleasure and a blessing to have you. Go ahead, Phil.
And one thing, you know, just last thing I want to say is, you know, I definitely want to thank you for representing the city, right? I think all of us can agree on that.
Yes.
And, you know, definitely prayers and blessings to your success, and see you up there, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you guys. I really
All right,
appreciate
let's give it up for Marley B.
Marley B.